What's happening, guys? Cap over here, and welcome to another week of the UBC League. Today we take on Adam, aka the Beesknees, coach of the Houston Solrockets. This is a big match for both of us just because I can potentially take one game away from him and put ourselves in a better position. It's a chance for me to drag myself out of the mud and back into the playoff race. For himself, he could potentially build some ground on his opponents that are trying to chase him down for a playoff spot. So, big consequences for the results of this match. Pretty hyped about this. Adam has been going around really playing well, and I'm excited to play a competent player and whatnot. So be sure to smash that like button and sub to the channel if you want to check out his side of the battle. Look in the description down below and click his link and get his perspective. If you're coming from Adam's side onto my channel, thank you so much for doing that. Show your support. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to leave a like. If you want to see more of it and become fan of the Toronto SwaBlu Jays, simply click that sub button. I know it's a bit weird with the new YouTube and stuff, but I think they still do the same things. But anywho, the Pokemon that he opted to not bring in today are the Lone Ninetales, the Mega Sableye, Tangela, Quillfish, Sandslash, and Blaziken. So pretty happy to not see Chansey and Sableye on the same field with those 6 mons, because that would just be annoying and fat and incredibly bad for myself, because that can really dwindle my team down. I did bring some things to sort of prep for it, but it's a tough core to break down, and this makes my team a bit more viable in terms of what I could potentially do, how I approach this battle, and how I play this battle, or how I play this match. So the mons I am bringing today. So this is my Dragon Dance T-Tar with sub, pretty much meant to set up all over Chansey's face, and it's not a crazy possibility that I can get at a +2. I can totally do it. I just got to play it right and play it well, and you know, capitalize on the moment when I can make it happen. We're bringing in Standard Laddie. Once again, if you're new to the channel, I'm bad at using this mon. It's just a curse. I don't know why. Like I think I'm just bad at it. It's not a mon that I'm good with. I've got Clefable over here, just unaware, just to take on Manaphy and Zygarde. If they get a bit out of control, if they become power crazy, that's pretty much my, you know, damage control over there. We got Suicune, which is my defensive mon. Has a really good matchup in this battle actually with the Zygarde, Metagross, and Aerodactyl. It could put in a lot of work and just apply a lot of pressure too, thanks to its pressure ability to take on things like Chansey and stall it out. We do have a pretty cool Heatran set. This is absolutely lit. This is a Salac Berry, Flamethrower, Flash Cannon, Sunny Day, and Solar Beam Heatran, and I just really want to run this thing. I was hoping that, you know, maybe Thundurus might not be Choice Scarfed. It does outspeed a lot of things on his team, and it actually does pretty much take care of the Manaphy. Sort of, you know, it sort of turns the tables on Manaphy. If I can get a Sunny Day up, then whew, God help the Beesknees, because that is just a scary Heatran. But he does have Chansey, so that sort of just walls it at that point. And then we finally have our Choice Scarf Shaman with Earth Power, Seed Flare, Enduver, Hidden Power, and Hidden Power Ice. So Enduver just allows me to pressure things like Chansey. It allows me to KO things with, you know, if I get at 2 HP or 2%, it allows Sandstorm to finish them off and, you know, simply pick them off at that moment. So it really puts me in a solid position, and seeing no Mega Sableye, it allows me to spam Enduver, which is just an odd statement in its entirety. So what can you do, right? What can you do? So let's just jump into this battle. I'm leading off with Mega Laddie because it is a solid mon to lead off with, and I was hoping that, you know, maybe this is a game that'll turn around, it can do some work, and I get a good matchup at this moment. I'm going to lead off with Laddie. He leads up with Zygarde. Around the calcs, Draco Meter does not KO. I just don't want to sack off my Laddie at this moment or let it take a lot of damage, just because, you know, it has a good matchup like Aerodactyl or Thundurus or Manaphy, even Chansey. It doesn't really, like, I have the potential of dealing a lot of damage with this thing. So I'm going to switch out, go right into my Suicune, my proper Zygarde check, as this ends up working out for me, as he ends up going into Metagross, and I'm like, oh dang, now I can just Scald like a badass. And he just ends up sending out the Manaphy, and this is a big burn at this moment. Just keep in mind, he is at 88% with that burn, and you'll see how much damage this burn does. It is actually incredible how much damage it chips away at it. So I'm just going to send out my Shaman at this moment. I was sort of predicting that he'd have Energy Ball and he'd click it at this moment, but he's playing really aggressive at this moment, and he's making the proper plays. He ends up predicting my switch into Shaman, and clicks the Ice Beam, which does a clean 45%. That is frightening damage. That is shockingly, or there's no pun for that. There's nothing for that. So me hoping that Shaman would drought the Chansey, I end up sending out my T-Tar over here, which means, you know, I could potentially set up a Dragon Dance, or I could sub, or I could do something incredible with it. But he's just reading me like a book right now, and he goes right into Thundurus, or I don't know if he's reading me like a book, but he makes a better play and goes right into Thundurus, as I'm forced to switch out because I do not want my T-Tar to be taking damage. And there's no point in me Dragon Dancing at this moment. It's not the time and place for it. So I'm gonna go right into Lottie, and Lottie takes 37%, which is horrendous. That's bad damage at this moment. And he goes right into Metagross. At this moment, I have nothing to deal with Metagross with Lottie, so I'm switching out. There's no consequences for me. That's what I was thinking. I was like, all right, I'm switching out, but get blown back by Pursuit. Lottie once again does nothing, and I'm forced to send out my Heat Ramp because I want to scare this Mon off. It is... Oh, Lottie. Lottie. It's not you, it's just me. I just use you badly. I apologize for it. Good pref on Adam's part, though. The Pursuit is a solid play on his end, and having that really paid off because it allowed Lottie to do absolutely nothing, which is pretty good on his part. So now I'm just gonna send out Heatran, and I can set up a Sunny Day. He ends up sending out his Aerodactyl, which I was confused at the start, but then I realized, oh snap, he does actually get the special defense boost from Sandstorm. So it was a solid play on his part because I wouldn't be doing a lot of damage to this Aerodactyl. But I end up sending out the Sun, which sort of ends up working out for me because now I can send out Suicune, and it sort of put him in a state of false safety, just because, or yeah, a sense of safeness. Just because now my Scald is, you know, sort of nullified at that moment, and Chansey doesn't need to come in because it doesn't do anything to Suicune. And I can actually just click Ice Beam at this moment, as it's the middle ground play for me. But he doesn't know I have Ice Beam, so I'm just going to reveal it at this moment and get some nice damage on this Zeus. That is good damage. That is fantastic damage. Ice Beam doing 55% is enough damage to a point where Zeus is no longer a viable switch into Suicune, especially when the sun is gone. So that's always something to keep in mind. It forces him to be a bit more precautious with Thundurus. And at this moment, I need my Suicune to take hits from his physical mons. So I'm switching out right into my Clefable as he switches out into Zygarde, and I'm like, oh dang. That's an odd switch in. So a lot of red flags are going all over my head, and I'm like, even Zygarde's holding up a red flag. He's like, yo man, I'm dangerous. You don't know what I'm going to be doing. So I'm mystified at this point. I'm going to click Wish, as it's, you know, it might be the middle ground play. I was sort of predicting him to be like a Sludge Wave set, so I was hoping that he'd reveal that at this moment with Choice Specs or something ridiculous. He ends up being the Camouflage set, and I'm like, that's interesting. What does he want to do? What does this fella want to do? So I'm just gonna go for a knockoff because I don't want him to be weakness policy if I land a Moonblast, or I don't want him to be. Actually, that doesn't even make sense. I don't want him to, you know, build a lot of momentum with lefties and whatnot. He doesn't have any reliable way of recovering HP at this moment. And I can just go right into Shaman because most likely he's going to be going for 1,000 arrows, and him revealing Toxic sort of, it, like, lucky for me, I've watched a couple games in my day and age, and I remember seeing a set that is similar to this that Iron Flash Gaming used, and that was a trapping Zygarde set that he used against Gypsy King. So I was like, this could be that, and if it is, I should get Clefable out of there because Clefable would die to that set really easily. So I ended up sending out the Shaman because it was sort of the middle ground play on my end, as Shaman sort of gets, you know, Shaman doesn't do, Shaman eats that out, that 1,000 waves. So he ends up being the 1,000 wave set, which is a really cool set. That is just tremendous on his end for bringing that set into this battle, as the Seed Flare is doing a lot of damage. And I can just keep on spamming Seed Flare at this moment just because, for me, getting that chip damage is really important. It allows things like Tyranitar to come in and land the crunch and simply vanquish this thing into the next dimension. and I can simply play it safe once again, go for the Suicune play and click Scald or Calm Mind or something like that. I decided to set up some Calm Minds just because I figured, you know, it might be a good situation for me to set up Calm Minds. If he goes for Energy Ball, I live one, and I sort of make a misplay at this moment. If you remembered when I said, yeah, Manaphy is at 88%, it's already at 70%. It's taken a lot of damage with the burn damage, so now I'm forced to switch out at the moment as he reveals his tail glow said. I call mine, I'm like, that was a bad play on my end, why did I do that? So I go into the Clefable at this moment, and he reveals the Energy Ball. So happy that I switched out because Suicune still has a big role in this match, and I don't want to lose it like that. So I'm going to play around this thing. I'm trying to draw out the Hydro Vortex because that wrecks Clefable, and if I can get it to land on Suicune, then I'm in a good position. That means Clefable can sort of do its job, but not relatively well, but it can still do it. So I go right back into Suicune, hoping that he goes for the Hydro Vortex, but he ends up going for the Surf, does a clean 37%. That's on a Suicune. That is just frightening. That is scary. So I just go back into Clefable, and I take this Surf. Not well at all. I'm still 2-hit KO'd by Surf at this moment, and I'm like, boy, I misplayed that big time. So I'm just going to click Protect at this moment, and the burn damage is actually doing a lot of damage. Like I said, it was at 88% when it started with this. I have not landed a hit on this thing. The only thing I've hit it with is with Scald. So burn damage is doing essentially what I wanted to do, and that's just simply to allow me to play sort of this dolly game at this moment. So now Manaphy being at this range, I can actually finish it off with a +1 T-Tar and, you know, put in some work with that. And Clefable going down means I can bring in my Shaman, scare it out, go for a Seed Flare. Now this mon is at range where a +1 T-Tar actually takes it down with Crunch. So +1 T-Tar is looking pretty good at this moment. He still has a couple mons that I can set up on, but it's looking not too great for me as my my ability to switch in and out is slowly dwindling down as he reveals the Pursuit once again. The Pursuit of Happiness is really killing me over here, and I'm forced to just go right into Suicune once again. I've been playing this game on my heels this whole time. He's been applying a lot of pressure on me as I decide to go for Calm Mind, and I knew at +1 I can take an Energy Ball relatively well. All I have to do is just click Scald. As you can tell, 26% is good damage, and that works out for me. It really does work out for me, as now he's at 1%, and I decide at this moment he's going to die down to burn. That's what's going to happen. If he switches out, so be it, but he's going to go down to burn. So my play here is just to go for Calm Mind because I have a chance of living a Thunderbolt from a Thundurus at +2 special defense and potentially KOing it, which would be pretty big at this moment because then he doesn't really have a lot of things that takes on Suicune. So I'm like, alright, here we go. The Hydro Vortex lands, and I get critted. Oh. Sucks, but it's Pokemon, right? It's Pokemon. So at this moment, Thundurus can just come in and just KO me easily. Easy. That's an easy KO. So I'm forced to go right into T-Tar. I have to sort of risk the biscuit at this moment just because I need to know if this thing is Choice Scarfed. If it's Choice Scarfed, then he'll switch out into his Metagross or something. But my play right now is just to set up a Substitute and allow me to sort of absorb this whatever mon comes into next. So I'm going for a Substitute. He goes into Metagross, and I'm like, oh dang, now it's my chance. I gotta go for a Dragon Dance, apply some pressure, and I can slowly not get swept by Metagross, which is fantastic on my end. I'm happy about that. He doesn't go for a Bullet Punch. Sort of a 50-50 play just because he revealed Bullet Punch at that moment. And yeah, I'm not sure why he didn't click Bullet Punch at that moment actually. Bullet Punch did a lot of damage, but it works out for me. And now I can just go right into, he just goes right into his Thundurus. And I'm forced to switch out because I don't take Focus Blast relatively well, and he ends up having the superpower, which means I would have pretty much died to the superpower. fortunately for me, he does have superpower. He does crit me, and the crit sucks, but it does help me verify one thing. I can see if it's choice scarfed at this moment, and at -2, it actually won't take me. It won't take down T-Tar. So at this point in time of the match, it is actually checkmate, just because the field is set for T-Tar to come in, set up a Dragon Dance, and depending on his next couple moves, it really dictates on how I approach the end game. So 100% of the time, or my play to make right now, is to go into T-Tar, Dragon Dance. If he goes for superpower, so be it. He's just going to keep on lowering his attack, and it's going to be doing less and less damage. Thanks to the Sandstorm turns, it sort of worked out perfectly in terms of, you know, the stars aligned and Sandstorm runs out at this turn and I can bring out T-Tar. And yeah, it works out really well. Just because now I can bring in T-Tar, go for a Dragon Dance, and that's where it's checkmate, like I said before. Him going into Chansey doesn't change anything. If he had gone into Zygarde, if he'd gone into Aerodactyl, it still would have resulted in the same result. Aerodactyl does not one-hit KO me. Zygarde will not one-hit KO me. And Chansey obviously doesn't one-hit KO me. So it doesn't really change a lot. It just changes how I approach the end game. And all in all, it just would have. It doesn't really matter. As you can tell, the Psychic Toss doesn't break it. The Aerodactyl, I believe, was doing like 55% it coming in. So either way, I would still be at +2 and I could take down the Aerodactyl. Just being at +3 guarantees me the victory, just because of, you know, I don't have to risk the Stone Edge miss, and Crunch is simply going to KO everything on his side. He doesn't have extreme speed at this moment, and as you can tell over here, T-Tar is actually just going to sweep up the game. It's just going to, you know, take Ed's Broom, clean it up a bit, show him who's boss. And from the clutches of almost losing this battle, we actually pick up the victory. A very unlikely victory, but nevertheless, it is a 2-0 victory, and we put ourselves back into the playoff race, which is more important to me. And our T-Tar set works really well. So GG to Adam. It was a really, like, he played aggressive at the start, and he had the match at the beginning. Like, the first, like if we're to say this was a boxing match, he would have the first couple of rounds. He dictated that. He absolutely destroyed me in that. But at the end, kept my composure, and sort of worked out at the end for me. I saw my opening and I just went for it. And it just worked out for me at that moment. T-Tar is really coming in clutch for these past couple games, and T-Tar is slowly becoming one of my favorite mons to use in Draft League format. It's a cool mon to use. It's a bit overwhelming of all its weaknesses, but it's a cool mon to use and bring, and the options that it has, it's just sometimes a bit underrated sometimes, thanks to its ×4 weakness and the plethora of weaknesses that it does have. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. And be sure to sub to the channel and support your Toronto SwaBlu Jace. If you enjoyed the content, let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know on the thumbs up button. Let me know on the subscribe button. That's how you can tell me and how it motivates me to keep on uploading these videos. But just a little update in terms of what's happening with the channel and why my activity's been slowly dwindling down. I'm going back to school, and right now I'm in the midst of still finding a place. So that's sort of been dictating my life a little bit, so that's why my activity is just going to be going down a little bit. Some battles here and there might be a bit late, and hopefully it doesn't really affect it that much. Luckily for me, I will have access to computers at school, and I will try my best to keep things uploading and keep things updated. I'm pretty sure I will be having some sort of form of Adobe or some sort of editing software at school. It's a pretty big school. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get access to it. So thank you so much for watching. If you stayed around for the 20 minutes, I do appreciate it. And I'm going to get going. So thank you so much for watching, and have yourselves a good night. Peace.